Hello, and welcome to Hitchhiker's Guide to Humanity. Today we're talking about evil, the kind you can see and the kind that maybe you can't. I used to believe that evil was ego unchecked, right? That it was a human energy malfunction of some sort. I believed it was generational, sure, but I'm starting to think that I was wrong. I'm starting to think that what I believed is, if compared to what it actually is, which is like learning about the Epstein files. And let's take a moment to acknowledge the Epstein files is such a generic way to say it because there are survivors who are telling stories that are absolutely horrific. And the amount of evil that you would have to have in your body and soul, like, whew, the things that I have read and heard. And here's the thing, before I go too far into this, I want to be cognizant of the content that I'm about to go into. It's not too graphic, but I do want to warn people that have a sensitivity to any type of abuse. Okay? So if that's something that affects you, use your discretion when listening. So here's the thing. We're going to distinguish this business of sex trafficking from familial sexual abuse. Because familial sexual abuse comes from, I think, another place. It's this weird enmeshed type situation that comes in from when someone has done to them, then they do it to someone else. It is like a chain, a disgusting, diseased chain that goes through a family, right? And this includes people that others know, their friends, their teachers, their counselors, their coaches, their whatever. It's almost always someone they know. This Epstein files this is an entire systemic abuse business. People exchanged money for children and then they abuse them physically, mentally. They allegedly killed them. I mean, there's a lot going on. And I will also preface this by saying that I know this happens in other countries, that this is not new, right? That even this isn't new with a government covering it up. It's horrific on its own, just knowing that this is happening. But no one said anything. Or if they did, the people with the power and the money, the perpetrators, they wouldn't allow them to even have their voice heard. And this coming out right now, it is not an accident. I know you're probably thinking, why couldn't this have come out before he was president? Before 2016, before all this happened? And boy, I wish. I really do wish that that would have been the case. But do you think anybody would have believed it? Do you think anybody would have been like, yeah, that sounds plausible, until we really peeled back the onion of our country and the disgusting maggot-filled grossness that is under there, right? A lot of us have awoken from the blur and the hypnotic state of the freedom that we so-called possess here in the United States. I'm not someone who is so naive to think that America wasn't built the way that it was built, by enslaved people, Black and brown people. Like, I'm aware, but I don't think I could have predicted it would be like this. It would be like a literal civil war against our government. People pulling people out of their homes, people murdering people in their cars, innocent US citizens. ICE did that. ICE murdered Renee Good. ICE murdered Keith Porter. Say their names. So let's take a moment and talk just about abuse and secrets, okay? I grew up thinking that the act itself was the most evil part. That the perpetrator of that act is the evil one. But I gotta tell you, after going through therapy for 12 years, it's not. I'm not saying it's not evil. I'm saying it's not the most evil part. The most evil part, and this is my belief, you don't have to believe it, is how it's treated afterward, right? Was it acknowledged? Was it verified? Or did everybody cover it up? Did everybody just let it go? So I think the act of abuse isn't the largest evil. I think it's the systemic covering up that is the real evil, the secrets. Because what that does is allows it to go on. It allows the consequences not to reach the perpetrators. It is the reason it becomes systemic. One fucking vile piece of shit human who abuses someone else and gets that consequence, it's done. But one vile piece of shit human does something terrible to somebody and doesn't get the consequence and then finds somebody else and does it to them and then finds somebody else and then finds a whole horde of people that cover it up. That is the evil. That is the veil that is lifting now. You can say that it's because Neptune is about to leave Pisces and go into Aries. You can say it's because Pluto is in Aquarius now. Whatever it is, those themes are here and they're being repeated. This has happened in history. Maybe not this exact thing, but the themes are real and they're the same. We go through cycles as humans. Humanity is just a bunch of cycles of the same shit. And we just happen to be here at the end of this cycle. It doesn't mean the world's going to end. It doesn't mean Earth's going to, it doesn't mean any of that. It just means that this cycle is done. And we get to be the transition team to go into the next cycle. Hooray! You get to be that person. Aren't you excited? Yeah. No, I know. It's great. It's great. I love that it took me 1,000 years to come back, and I come back to this. I can't tell you how grateful I am to be here during this time where 1984 is becoming real. Gotta hand it to you. No. That's sarcasm. Okay. But anyways, the cover up, that's the real evil, right? And it's the part you can't really see, right? But the cover up is what keeps us naive to all of this. How many people would it have to be for us to be this clueless? For us not to know the depths that this would go to? And if we just believe survivors, we wouldn't need Epstein files. We could just believe them, because who the hell would make that up? You would have to have some sort of because you know what's going to happen. You know people aren't going to take you seriously because they don't take women seriously. And you know that people are going to think you're lying and all that. Why would you do that? And I think there was a survey. It was 98% of survivors are telling the truth. It's a smidge, a tiny, tiny percentage who don't. So if we're going by those odds, 98%, which is freaking huge, let's just believe them. That sounds good to me. So you might be asking, what happens now? That is a legit question. There will be consequences for these acts. It's just that the time here, the murky, dense earth time is so fucking slow. It is so slow. Compared to energy in any other realm, any other planet, it is so slow. But those consequences will happen, and I believe we'll be here to see them. So where do we go from here? First, we have to accept that this is a real thing. We have to accept that reality is dark. And we have to accept that this did happen and does happen, and that there's a system that is upholding it, and that it will break. It is breaking now, but we need to be prepared because the system isn't the only one. If you have one large system, there's a lot of little systems all over. So we need to be prepared for what happens after all of this. How do we pick up the pieces of this as humanity? And that's not even counting the genocides happening all over the world. And frankly, the disillusionment of men all over the world. This is our US version of delusionment. Did I say delusionment? Delusion. Coming undone. Other countries have theirs too. I mean, evil doesn't have a zip code. Like, there's a reason many of us are here. It's to balance this darkness with light. And we are tough. And we will not be taken down. But we are in human bodies. So we must regulate the human part of us, and we must accept that humanity is very much flawed. But we also need to accept that that we are worth saving. That we wouldn't be here if humanity wasn't worth saving. That the souls inside these human bodies aren't all evil pieces of shit. And those souls that are evil pieces of shit, they're going to go energetically wherever it is that they go. You can call it whatever. It's all energy goes where energy goes. And they're going to get the consequence in this lifetime, but also for lifetimes to come. It's one thing to have a soul contract to do certain things. Like I believe Donald Trump has a contract to be an agent of chaos. That's what I'm calling it. I have no idea if that's a real thing, but I can tell you that man signed a soul contract to be an agent of chaos, and he has done it with amendments. But here's the thing. They're going to have to get consequences for their role in this, contract or not. It's a whole other thing to like perpetrate a system like this than just be an evil piece of shit yourself. And I myself am having to reconcile my belief system because I've always believed there weren't any real punishments when it comes to energy, right? It just feeds in and feeds out. But I have to admit that I don't know anymore. And I'm working to build my belief system up again. This seems to be a theme for me, is building my belief system and finding out I'm wrong about stuff and then finding out how I actually feel. And I encourage everyone to do that. Don't hitch your hat to, what's the saying? Don't hang your hat on one thing and then expect it to never change and expect you to never change. That is the way we get into these messes. Go with what your body and your soul believe. Because I'm not going to hang on to something that my body and my soul are going, that doesn't actually compute with what you believe. I'm going to keep an open mind. So, if anyone's keeping score, evil, I believe, is not ego gone wild anymore. It's something that's a lot darker than that. And if you've ever believed in things that you can't see, if you've ever believed that your energy matters, if you've ever believed that you have light inside you, this is the time to use it. We need everybody in their light. We need you. We need you to be you. Because there are a lot of evil pieces of garbage that are being them. And they are not winning. They're losing. But they're screaming on the way out. And I'm tired of watching people suffer. So if we can all just beam our beautiful light, and you might be asking, how do you do that? Be authentically you and find your joy. Those two things are so high vibe. And that doesn't mean that you can't be angry or get mad or be sad or feel guilt or shame. Like, those are human emotions, and I will never tell someone they can't feel something. But that is authentic, to honor your emotions when they come. That's an authentic thing to do. And finding your joy is just in the moment. Doesn't mean you have to be perpetually happy. Nobody likes those people. Just find your joy. Until next time, peace and love to you all.